Hi guys, I'm heading towards Fukushima, or actually to be more precise, I am in Fukushima. Fukushima is not just one place though. Fukushima city is actually quite far away from here, but I'm near what most people would know as Fukushima, which is near the seaside, and heading towards one of the hotspots of the tsunami and heading towards an elementary school that was destroyed in the tsunami. Let's see how we go. It's a bit creepy coming into town because there's not a lot of people around. There's a bit of commercial traffic driving up and down, but not so much in the way of people, shops, or other activity. So let's see what happens. Cheers. Okay, continuing towards Namie and the elementary school or primary school that was destroyed in the tsunami. And if you look around, there's not much in the way of crops growing anywhere. The ground just seems to be kind of overgrown, which is pretty ominous. And to both my sides now there are stakes of earth piled up. Again, a little bit ominous. They may have been digging up or burying radioactive materials. I'm guessing that if you're allowed to drive in here, then, oops, I've just made a wrong turn. And I'll just double back and I'm almost at the primary school. Alright, looks pretty idyllic here. But again, that sort of belies the reality that must have been here 13 years ago. We can still see a lot of rubble from, I guess, the destroyed seawall that must have been here. Alright, just arriving at the aforementioned primary school, and let's have a look. I absolutely don't want to be a disaster tourist, but it's a way to, I guess, remember and pay respects. I'll tell myself that anyway. Okay, so here's the primary school that suffered the tsunami inundation, and as you can probably see, the first level or ground floor is pretty messed up, and the reason for that is because the water line, when the tsunami came through, was right up to the top of the first or ground level. The second floor was spared, so if you're on top on the second level, you're fine, and you'd have to make your way up pretty quickly. And I think from memory of having checked this up on the internet, everyone did survive. If we have a look around a bit more broadly, there's a pretty messed up what looks like a water tank. Further around you can see that there's just overgrown fields. Again, there's nothing else that's kind of really growing that might be productive, and the rest of this site in a pretty bleak and empty location. You know, I wonder if it was any different back in the day, but the rest of this area and this site in particular is just a giant big car park, and a busload of some sort of tourist has just turned up. So there you go. That's what the tsunami did, and that's how high it was. And I'd say that water would have gone for a number of kilometers inland. It wouldn't have just stopped somewhere around here. So just walking through that first floor, pretty messed up. the second level is not in great condition, but at least, and you can see where the water would have crept up to the floor level, because the bottoms of the walls and fittings are a bit rusted. But of course no comparison compared to the ground level. Okay, having done a bit of research on the internet, we're actually in Ukedo Elementary School, or the remains thereof, and the good news is that when the tsunami did hit, all the kids escaped to a nearby mountain and survived. So fantastic result. I don't think other schools are as lucky, and the mountain is actually about 1.5 kilometres away from here. I can't see where it is exactly, but that was a great result anyway, except for the whole thing having happened anyway, and of course that the school was destroyed. We can see from this view that the sea was 300 metres away, so not nearly enough distance to be safe. Alright, just arriving at the Great East Japan Earthquake Museum. Have a look to see what's inside. Right, catch you soon. Alright, I'm just about to go into the museum. Let's see how we go. But all around us we can see that there's signs of rebuilding. All of these buildings are obviously brand spanking new. There's and some sort of new development across the way, which is a business hotel and restaurants and so forth. So we can see that they've made a really concerted effort to rebuild and continue rebuilding. And the town we're in is actually Futaba. So to call it all Fukushima is not entirely precise. It's a series of towns. So let's see how we go in the museum. Cheers. Okay, all done with the museum, and really fantastic experience. You just have to go and see it. There's no photos or videos to be taken inside. It really is a must-see experience. So please see the museum, and we're in Futaba, Fukushima, Japan. Cheers. Just heading from Futaba to Tomioka, and it's actually still stark. It's quite stark rather, noticing that the rebuilding is still happening. There's a lot of empty lots, a lot of empty land, and a lot of overgrown areas. So people are not really paying much attention to gardening or pruning back the undergrowth. And it's still in process of being rectified to a semblance of what it used to be. So quite striking. Now I think I'm just driving through the exclusion zone now, so obviously you can drive through in your car, but you wouldn't want to stop for any length of time and go for a walk up this road, because I think that sign says don't go inside, and for good reason. And you can see that there's probably a neighbourhood that's intact, just sitting there full of empty houses. And in a second I'll show you the nuclear reactor, and that's obviously blocked off too. Okay, now I believe this is the entrance to one of the nuclear reactors. I think the one that blew up, and so you can't go in obviously, and there's covered up plastic covering waste materials, I'm assuming. So it's still right here overgrown like everything else is. Nobody's going in there for a long time. Alright, still driving to Tomioka, and I can see signs of life through the exclusion zone. I think we must be on the edge of it, because for a while all of the roads on to the left and the right were closed off, any business entrances closed off, and now I can see, well, they're still closed off, and there's abandoned buildings everywhere. You can go through, but you can't really turn left or right. So there's nobody, I think, doing business here or doing anything here. Although on my right hand side there are a few businesses open. Perhaps this is the edge of the exclusion zone, I'm not sure. You may have caught those houses on the side of the road. I think they were empty, abandoned. So I'm pretty sure we're still in the exclusion zone. I will keep driving, not staying here the night, but Tomioka should be okay, and I've got a hotel booked. I'll see you guys. Okay, just coming into Tomioka town, and there's signs of life everywhere, of course, but just barely, because just a few hundred meters behind me there's abandoned buildings and pretty creepy sort of scenes, really. And if I'd known that this hotel was just on the edge of the exclusion zone, I don't think I would have booked it, but it's too late now. I think I've paid for it, so it should be all right. Good thing I'm not planning on having any more kids. And just coming up to the accommodation now.